Dean Liu is going to talk about something that used in China about the so-called coupon. We are looking forward to his insight on this experiment, which is going to tell us a lot about the consumption, savings, and stimulus happened in China. Professor Liu, floor is yours. Total is 1 hour.
Okay.
And we will have some questions during.
Okay. So probably I'm going to spend maybe 30 to 40 minutes talking about what we have done in this paper. Actually, let me, this is joint work co-authored with Qiao Liu, who is also a marketing professor at Guanghua, and I have two other co-authors, Zheng Hua and April. They're both from the Research Institute of Ant Financial. So let me just first of all start by talking a little bit about the research background. Everyone knows that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused huge damage to the real economy in China and also all across the world. The first quarter GDP number in China was pretty bad. The GDP has dropped by 6.8%. It was one of the worst quarters in more than 4 decades. Especially, I think the small business have been hit really bad. Retail sales fell by 19%, and catering service actually, in particular, dropped by 44%. And catering service actually in China absorbed more than 29 million employees. So this is a huge sector absorbing a lot of people working. So unemployment become a big problem. So right now, I think stimulating consumption is one of the top priorities for the policymakers to revive the economy. In China, I think the engine of growth is changing. Right now, consumption accounts for example, in 2019, consumption accounts for 57.8% of GDP growth in China. So if consumption has some problem, this year's economic growth will be in trouble. So typically, the governments use fiscal stimulus policies to stimulate consumptions. For example, in US, use cash payments. This is 2020 Chaos Act. And I think the tax rebates is also one of the commonly used policy tools. And sometimes you use cash equivalent coupon. We have Japanese example and also example in Taiwan and other economies in the past. But in China, I think people have some concerns. First of all, this kind of fiscal stimulus policies has never been used nationwide before. So that I think is one of the biggest problems. People do not feel very comfortable whether it will work. And also, traditionally, the household saving rate in China is very high. For example, in the first quarter of this year, despite of the pandemic, the household saving increases by 7.4 trillion RMB. It's close to $1 trillion US. So people are becoming very cautious about spending their money. Of course, social distancing policy is also one of the problems. They cannot go out, they cannot spend the money. But I think that people worry that if the government give cash to the household, send pay checks to the households, they just put the money in the banks. They won't consume. So I think that is also one of the concerns. The government has been quite hesitant about using fiscal stimulus payment programs. And another thing is that the government right now is quite financially constrained. So the fiscal revenue have been quite overstretched. So to be honest, they don't have too much money to pay to the households. So I think the local governments are actually quite worried about the situation. So I think starting from March, some of the municipal cities in China have taken initiative to try this stimulus program. So the digital coupon program is one of the policy innovations made by local governments this time. It has been copied and used by a lot of cities. Based on the most recent statistics, more than 200 cities in 31 provinces have tried this kind of program. So I think it covered all of the province in mainland China. And people estimate that the total size of government subsidy has amounted to somewhere around 30 billion RMB yuan. So it's quite a lot of money has been put into this kind of policy trials. I think different cities have different design and rollout strategies, but a couple of common features. I think all of the features actually came from the Hangzhou's experiment. So I think first of all, they use this saving with spending. So it's kind of like a discount coupon. It's not a cash equivalent coupon. For example, in Hangzhou, the coupon has to be used in the following way. If you spend 40 RMB yuan, you got a 10 RMB yuan off. So it's kind of like government subsidy rate is 25%. So you have to spend a certain amount of money to enjoy the subsidy provided by the local government. I think that is one of the very unique features for this digital coupon program. And secondly, normally the face value is quite small. In Hangzhou, it's like 40 RMB yuan voucher. So you have 5 vouchers. Each voucher has 40 yuan face value, and the duration is short. Unlike the physical payment programs experimented in other countries, in other settings, which normally several months or even 1 year or even longer. In Chinese case, the duration is typically is just 1 week or 2 weeks. So that is another very unique feature. Okay, the third thing is about how they disperse the coupons. I think they use the mobile payment platforms such as Alipay platform and Tencent's WeChat platforms. Each platform has more than 1 billion user accounts. So it's quite easy for them to distribute the money, the coupons to a large group of consumers. So I think that is also one of the unique features. And each time when they try to disperse the coupons, the total amount of the coupons actually are limited. For example, in Hangzhou, there are 10 million residents, but for the first wave, in the first wave, which is in March, on March 27th, they only distribute 2 million coupons. So the success rate is somewhere around 20%. So you got a 20% of chance to get a coupon if you apply. So I think a couple of questions from academic perspectives. Number one, whether this kind of design, policy design works. So whether it is able to effectively stimulate spending among the consumers who have received this kind of small value coupons. So this is one of the issues we're going to work on in this paper. And secondly, we also want to understand how consumers respond to coupons. So which group of consumers are most responsive, and what are the underlying reasons behind? And also, of course, one of the critical questions you want to work on is what are the underlying causal mechanisms, if there are any effects around. So hopefully by figuring out answers to those questions, we can sort of have some implications for the policy going forward. So what kind of fiscal policies could be effective in terms of stimulating consumption in China or maybe in other settings as well. Just before I get into the details, just a very quick review of the results we have. So the first result is that the coupon has been very effective in terms of driving consumption. We identify a marginal propensity to consume, MPC, in the range of 3.4 to 5.8. So which is 1 order of magnitude higher than the MPCs documented in previous studies. So that's quite striking in terms of its effectiveness. And also we try to understand what are the underlying mechanisms. We found that a behavior model with mental accounting and loss framing match our empirical findings well. So very likely this is a behavioral story. And also we did some external validity test. We argue and also found some supporting evidence that this program can be easily scaled up nationwide. So it has potential to become a large scale policy experiment, which can be effectively used by the government to stimulate consumption in a time of a pandemic. And I think another thing is that this digital coupon program in China is different from the commonly used fiscal stimulus program. So here, in some sense, the Chinese government just break the usual one-time blanket stimulus program into multi-rounds, localized policy interventions. And they can make adjustments along the way, trying to achieve the best results. I think this kind of policy design experimentation could be very useful, and it has a potential to be applied in other countries or in totally different settings as well. So let me just say a few more words about what could be the potential contribution of this project. I think the paper is related to 4 lines of research. The first is, is a big literature, huge literature, which examining consumers' response to different types of stimulus programs. And normally, I think those papers estimate the MPCs to be in the range of 10% to 80%. In our paper, we found something much higher than that, and we'll explain what could be the reason later on. And it's also related to a lot of literature talking about how to build the behavioral insights into policy making. So there are a large literature discussing this kind of issues. And last year, Nobel Prize actually were given to 3 economists working in this area as well. And the third literature is randomized controlled trials and policy experiments literature. In our case, it's not a randomized controlled experiment. It's actually a natural experiment. But the way the local government apply this policy, distribute the coupons, make it look like some kind of multi-wave policy experiments. So therefore, some of the insights from RCT's literature can be applied here to help us understand what has been going on and what can be improved to achieve better results. And then finally, the paper is related to growing literature talking about the economic impact of COVID-19 and what kind of policies governments around the world can come up to deal with the damage caused by the pandemic. So let's just spend probably a few more minutes talking about our empirical context. So what this program is about. We use the program experimenting in Hangzhou as the background to study the effect of digital coupon program. I think a couple of reasons. Number one, Hangzhou is one of the first cities trying a digital coupon program in China. So out of more than 200 cities, Hangzhou probably is the second or third trying this. And also, I think the program, in terms of its design and its implementation strategies, has become the standard, which means that the Hangzhou model has been copied and pasted by a lot of cities in the following weeks and months. So if right now, as I said earlier, more than 200 cities are trying this, and most of them actually use the model, use the Hangzhou, which means that it's a discount coupon, and the face value is small, and the duration is short. Hangzhou actually is the capital city of Zhejiang province, so people know that very well. Also Alibaba, the big company, has a headquarters in Hangzhou. For its digital coupon, Hangzhou government use Alipay platform to distribute the coupons. And the penetration rate in Hangzhou of Alipay is very high. It's more than 90%. So I think that provides a very nice background for us to examine the economic impact of the coupon program. So you can see that the
can I
sure.
interrupt just a little bit on, you mentioned all these policy implications, etc. And in China, it's very decentralized, my understanding. I don't know whether this time, with this idea, like people must be running around with different ideas to stimulate the economy. Is this coming from Beijing, or it's a very much Zhejiang, or even just Hangzhou? Because China has different level of municipalities.
I would say this is more like a bottom-up approach. I think beginning March, a lot of economists, including myself, are trying to persuade the government, the central government, to use the nationwide fiscal stimulus program to stimulate consumption. But I think the central government has a lot of concerns. But the local government actually, they have very strong incentives to recover the economy as soon as possible. People argue that the Hangzhou government actually is quite market-oriented. So they came up with this idea by themselves. But I think because we talked to two of the courses from Ant Financial, they are the market institution helping Hangzhou government to initiate this idea and also try this out in Hangzhou. They told us that the government approached them. They're trying to, the hope that they can figure out some smart ideas to ensure that the people are willing to go out, walk out, and spend the money. Especially if they want to save the small restaurants, small shops, because they absorb a lot of jobs. And if those companies cannot operate properly, they worry about the employment situation. So I think it's a bottom-up approach. But when other cities observe the success in Hangzhou, they just follow. So I think a lot of local government officials approached either Alipay, Ant Financial, and other platforms, trying to discuss how to design localized policy to ensure that the spending can be boosted to recover the economy. So that is a bottom-up approach, I would say, yeah. So here we did this this chart. It shows the distribution of Baidu search of the keywords consumption coupon. So you can see the first spec is on March 27th. That is the day when Hangzhou issued its first wave of consumption coupon. So a lot of people, they found this is a new thing, and they search, they're trying to figure out what is going on. And so this is why we choose Hangzhou as the background to do the research. Its model has been followed, and it is also one of the first cities trying this program. And also the size of the pulse experiment is quite large. I think in Hangzhou, so far, the government has spent more than 500 million RMB on this program. And they have planned for second round or even third round, depending on the situation, economic recovery situation. So this is a detail of the first round. I mean, when I say this round, actually they have several waves, like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. They have 5 waves. And as I said, it's a discount coupon. If you look at the first row, the issuance date is March 27th. So basically, each coupon packet has 5 vouchers. For each voucher, you have to spend like 40 yuan. Then you can get 10 yuan off. So the total subsidy, government subsidy, based on face value is like 50 yuan. It's only like $7 US. And the valid date are 7 days. So you have to use the coupon within 7 days. For the first wave, Hangzhou government issued 2 million coupon packets. I mentioned earlier, the total population in Hangzhou is 10 million. So which means that if you try about 20% of, with 20% of chance, you can get the coupon. And the second wave, which is April 3rd, is slightly different in terms of its design. It has 3 vouchers, and face value is larger. For example, if you spend 100 yuan, you got a 220 yuan off. If you spend 300 yuan, you got a 45 yuan off. And this time they issued 1.5 million coupon packets. So if you apply, you have a 15% of chance of getting the coupon. And also the coupon week, there's only 1 week for people to redeem the coupons. And the third wave, the fourth wave, and the fifth wave pretty much follow the same design as the first wave. So it's a 40, spend 40, get a 10 off design. And so the government officials told us they figure this probably is the best strategy. This is the best design, which is able to generate the largest excess spending. So they stick to the original design, spend 40, get a 10.
Clarification.
Yes, please.
Hi. So you get the coupon before you spend, or you go and spend, and there's a lucky draw that you can get the coupon?
I'm getting to this in the next page. Yeah, very soon. Actually, it's here. So I think the idea is very simple.
Qiao,
yeah, please.
Qiao, can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
You mentioned that you find that in your experiment, the marginal propensity to consume is 3 to 4. That's way larger than documented in the prior literature. But is that actually part of the design of these coupons? Because you're gonna have to spend $40 to get $10 off. I mean, if you do a back of envelope calculation, that's about a marginal propensity to consume 3 to 4.
It is, yeah. So this is why we argue that this actually is a very innovative design. We also want to check whether it works, whether it's 20% of discount provided by the local government help the consumers to spend more money. So this is the empirical issue. This is also what we're trying to figure out. And it turned out that actually it works very well. So later on, I can show you the evidence for the first wave, second wave, even the fifth wave. The MPCs are quite stable. It's from like 3.4 all the way to 5.8. And also we tried use data from other cities. For example, from Guangxi, which is one of the western province in China, with a GDP per capita of $6,000 US, which is 1/3 of Hangzhou's GDP per capita. But still, the MPCs there are very similar. It's somewhere around 5.8 times. Yeah. So I think it is based on the design, the design of the coupon. But the point is that whether this kind of design can convince consumers, whether consumers are responsive to this kind of design. I think that is the issue we'll try to figure out in this paper. Yeah.
Okay.
So this also implies that the MPC, which is measured per dollar, is not surprising to be big, right? It's basically multiplier has to be big. The question is that whether it can generate a larger volume of I guess that in the prior literature never to think about that way. I guess that in China is successful, whatever the measure that you guys are taking on, but they have to take into account the fact that it's really about the extensive margin, like whether people would like to use it.
Yeah, I think in this paper, we only look at the experiment in Hangzhou. So definitely whether this policy can be applied to other cities or even nationwide is a big question, is a big issue. So later on, I'm going to provide some evidence arguing that this action can be applied, can be scaled up nationwide, and its overall effect could be very large. So just give me 10 more minutes. I'll come back to this point. So this action is a very quick question: how the coupon actually can be applied. So the idea is very simple.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you a question? Do you have?
Sure.
You should be able to get data on whether the extent of selection in terms of who applies.
We have data for that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have actually a very detailed information about who have applied, who have tried, but failed because you have it's first come first serve. Based on first come first serve, and if you're late, no, you cannot get it.
Right.
So if this is the idea, so if you go to the front page of Alipay, your Alipay account, you see this this picture, right? And you just click the button, and so if you're early enough, you can get the packet. It's like $10, 10 yuan for each voucher. So you got 5 vouchers here. I apologize about the Chinese characters, but the basic idea is just that you can use the coupon anywhere in the offline shops or small merchants, and you get 50 yuan free. But when you use the voucher, you have to make sure that your purchase size reaches the minimum, which is 40 yuan. So this information has been well circulated among the Hangzhou residents before March 27th. And how you use it?
Qiao,
it's very simple. Yes, please. Sure,
yeah, can I ask
please.
a question? So can I just understand, when you apply, do you apply for all 5 waves, or do you apply 1 wave at a time? Meaning that if I didn't get it this wave, I can potentially apply for wave number 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, you can.
Is the application?
You do that. Yeah.
So it's not like done one time. So,
each
for
wave
example,
is
the ones that did not get it potentially can apply for the 3rd and 4th round.
Each wave is separate.
I
So
see.
which means that, but I think there's one restriction here. If you got that in wave 1, you can't apply for wave 2, but you can apply for wave 3. So you have to, wait for 1 more wave. Yeah, it's a weekly exercise. So every week you have a chance to apply. And so eventually.
Yeah, but if I didn't get it this time, there's no restriction.
You can apply next time. Yeah, there's no restriction. Yeah.
Qiao,
but
maybe,
if you got it this
maybe
time,
I will.
Yeah. Please.
Maybe I'll ask my question again. In my mind, the purpose is to get people to spend. There are 2 possibilities. One is that you get the coupon, and then so you're stimulated, go there to spend money. The other one is, if I spend, I may get a lucky draw. I think the 2 programs are different. So I'm trying to figure out which program it is. Do I go there, spend money, and get a lucky draw, or I got lucky, then I spend?
You got lucky, you spend. It's more like the second one, yeah. So I think for the first wave, this is some detailed information our coach told us. It took 38 minutes for all 2 million coupons to be claimed by Hangzhou residents. For second wave, the time dropped to 3 minutes. For third wave, it's only 2 minutes. So you have to be early birds in order to get the coupons. Of course, this actually introduced some kind of selection bias, but later on we'll try to use some identification.
So in other words, people just try their luck and get the coupon and they spend money.
Yes, but I think that actually, in some sense, is what the policymakers want to say, because they want to choose the most responsive consumers to get the coupon, to spend the coupon, to use the coupon. And this is also one of the criticism about a traditional fiscal stimulus program, because they just give money to everyone. Some people do not need the money; they just put the money in their banks, so it can't be effective. But here they want to use this as a screening mechanism.
Yeah. So can I ask you? So was this part of the way in which they were thinking about targeting the money, that they thought that the people who were going to sit by their computer or their phones and be the first in line, these are going to be the people where that need the money the most.
Yeah, at least you're willing to wait and click the button to be the early birds. So
But
that shows
how do you
have
know?
strong willingness. Yeah.
But how do you
Yes.
know that these were not just, say, young kids who have nothing to do with their times and they're on, whereas people who really need the money, they're out working and they can't be sitting by the computer all the time, so they don't get it.
Yeah, actually, we look at the distribution of coupon receivers in terms of the age, in terms of the income level. I think the distribution is quite normal. I mean, evenly distributed. And also, one of the empirical findings we have is that older people tend to have higher MPCs this time. So that is something we're trying to figure out what is going on. We argue that it probably is consistent with some kind of behavioral factor.
But then is what you're saying that when you look at who gets it and who doesn't get it, or who applies or who does not apply, that the two distributions look similar? That there's no selection? No,
not quite. To be honest, yeah. I think for the people who get the coupons, they tend to spend more money. But I think in our analysis, we also use a propensity score matching method to take care of the potential selection bias. Actually, using PSM, the results are quite similar, quite consistent. The thing is that we have all of the accounting information. So we'll try small samples, try larger samples, try different samples. The results are quite consistent. Yeah. But I agree with you. There's probably some selection bias here. Yeah.
It's not just selection bias, but can I ask one more
Sure.
one more question about it? Can you also get information on like how much people are spending online in order to get the coupons? Because do you also have people who apply even so it is the way it works is that you all apply, everybody applies within a certain window, and then a fraction of them get it. So people are, say, spending time applying. So I guess the question in my mind is how much of the value of the coupons is just dissipated by people wasting their time online trying to get the coupons?
It just, I think in Hangzhou's case, I think it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So if you turn on your mobile phone, you go to the front page of your Alipay account, you click a button. And if you're quick enough, you got it. For the first wave, it's 38 minutes, and this information is very long. So for second wave, I think the time reduced to 3 minutes. So I don't think that they're going to wait very long.
No, but it's not. Yeah. It's not just the waiting, but it's also the distortion in what you're doing. That is, if you know it's 8 o'clock, normally at 8 in the morning or before 8 in the morning, from 7 to whatever in the morning, your plan was to do something else. But because you know that this was happening, you are distorting your behavior in order to be online at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, actually, we talked to the designer of this program. They choose 8 o'clock in the morning because they believe that everybody gets up already. They're on the way to work or whatsoever. You use a mobile phone, you just turn on your mobile and go to the front page of Alipay, you click the button. So it's quite straightforward, quite simple. They believe this probably is a very ideal design to ensure that everybody has equal access to the coupon. So I think they are fully aware of the selection problem. They want to make sure that it's purely randomized, yes.
But then if they really want to make it random, why don't they just, instead of having people do this, because they just do the randomization and they just randomly send the coupon to 2 million people instead of getting people to be online at 8 in the morning. Like I think about when I have tried to get, say, concert tickets that I know are going to sell out in 2 minutes. For me, it's severely distortionary to have to be there at exactly the time that that the ticket office opens and everything is gone in 2 minutes, which sounds like it's this case.
Chantai,
yeah,
there's a natural sorting going on. Right? It's I guess it's much harder to.
No,
answer
it's sorting, but the question is whether the rents are just dissipated away by this distortionary behavior.
Leo, I would suggest let's just move forward for
okay, yeah,
let's say like 7 or 8 minutes without interruption, and then we'll come back.
Okay, so I mean, this is a very good question. I mean, the local government official just choose this way. So probably they can try the way you have suggested, just randomize, just choose randomly draw 2 million people to assign them the coupon. But I think they still want to make sure they can target the most responsive group of consumers. Somehow they believe that early birds belong to this group. This is my understanding. I can talk to those guys and trying to know what they're thinking. Yeah. So I mean, the use of coupon is very simple. Whenever you do any purchase, you use Alipay to pay, and as long as the purchase size exceeds the minimum amount, which is 40 yuan, then $10 yuan will be automatically deducted from the payment. So you don't need to do anything special. If you have a coupon package, you have vouchers left. So we just use a very standard difference approach. I'm not going to talk too much about this. And the privilege we have is that we can have transaction level data from Alipay for all of the residents in Hangzhou. And so because the coupon is linked to the Alipay account, so all of the transactions, all of the activities can be observed by the company. But of course, we just draw a random sample of 100,000 individuals for treatment group, and the same size for the control. And we have some individual information, for example, how they spend money and their consumption patterns in March, and also 6 months before the program. And also we know their age, their gender, and whether they have the virtual credit card service account, which is called Fabei. If they use that, we will try to figure whether it implies that those people actually have some liquidity constraint problem whatsoever. So this is summary statistics. I want to apologize. We didn't provide all of the information that could be of interest, because Ant Financial has been quite concerned about releasing too much information. So here we only know gender and the offline spending, the average monthly offline spending, etc. So indeed, there's some differences between treatment group and the control group.
Wait, just quick clarification. The control group are the people that did not apply, or people that applied that didn't
people applied. So Alipay actually has, they can figure out whether this person has gone to the front page of Alipay, and they have been there, but they didn't get the coupon.
Okay.
So they're labeled as attempted but failed. Yeah. So that's our control group. Yeah.
So basically, these are the difference. Is just people who applied at 8 in the morning versus people who applied at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. For the first wave, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Qiao, clarifying question. So offline spending are spending that money spent on offline stores, but still use Alipay to pay, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we use.
Can I ask a question? I'm still trying to get my head around the large MPC. Could it be that there is crowding out of other instruments that you used to spend on, and because of this coupon program, now you're not spending your credit or cash or whatever other means, and that's why you're getting this large number?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, but we actually in paper we discussed a couple of potential ways to deal with this problem. One is that Alipay actually has been very, very popular in Hangzhou. Hangzhou is the headquarters of Alibaba, and the penetration rate is more than 90%. So most people in Hangzhou, they actually use Alipay as the main payment tool. And also we did some survey back in early April. We surveyed the receivers of coupons. We asked them how often do they use Alipay rather than cash or Tencent's WeChat. I think 90% of them say that they rely on Alipay as a major payment method. I think this probably is a particular case in Hangzhou. If we're talking about another city, maybe Shenzhen or Beijing, Shanghai, I think this could be a bigger concern. But in Hangzhou, people actually use Alipay. Yeah, so that is I think a short answer to that concern. Yeah. So let me just
can I just make sure I understand your match versus unmatched? So the way it looks from your statistics is that the program basically reached people with higher incomes.
Yeah, this actually is a very sharp observation. Yes.
It's that, I mean, that seems clear that basically the people that got it because of the selection mechanism, it was pretty regressive.
Yeah, if you look at wave one, the average monthly offline spending is somewhere around 4,000 RMB.
Yeah, for the people that got it versus people that didn't get it. I mean, yes, the gaps are big.
It's quite big, yeah. So this is why we use PSM matching, and after that, they're getting closer.
Sorry, clarification. I thought that both the control and the treatment group, they apply for the coupon.
They applied for coupon, but some got it, some failed.
And then the distribution is random, so it's not random.
No, it's not random. It's by time of day. It's by the time of day. So basically, the people that got what they're 8 in the morning were wealthier than the people that got onto the platform at 9 in the morning.
Because it's first come, first serve. So those who act fast are the richer people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or those that spend more.
I don't know how big the difference is. Whether they're richer or they just slightly wealthier. Yeah.
Maybe
they spend more.
To spend.
They spend more, right?
Yeah. Okay. They spend more. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So this is why we use matching method, and hopefully that will take care of this potential selection bias.
But maybe precisely because they want to spend more, that they get up early in the morning and get the coupon.
In some sense, that means the program has been quite successful, because it is successfully targeted.
No. Wait, sorry, but why?
Yeah.
No, I don't see how you can say that, because what it's. I mean, but how do you know that it's the people that got there at 9 in the morning? They got there at 9 in the morning because they had a lot of other things to do with their time. They need to feed their kids. They need to work. And that's why they got there at 9 in the morning. And because they got there at 9 in the morning, they didn't get it, and they were the ones that need the money the most.
Yeah, actually, I think one thing I didn't talk is that when we choose a control group, we'll try different methods. We also try a group of consumers who barely failed. For example, in the first wave, it's 38 minutes for people to claim the coupon. So we choose those within like 45 minutes. So they show up on the front page of the Alipay account, but they failed. So we want to argue that this is just a pure luck. You miss a couple of minutes and you lose this opportunity. And we want to argue that the excess spending is still driven by the coupon use.
It seems that there are two questions. I mean, there are two questions, and how you want to do it. One question is, what is the marginal propensity to consume? If you want to know the marginal propensity, then your last idea makes sense. That is, you want to look at people who got it for some random reason, and people that did not get it for some random reason. So looking at the barrier, like 38 minutes versus 39 minutes, that's the perfect thing to do. The second question, which seems just as equally important, is whether the program reached the intended targets. we reached that is, did it reach the people that need the money the most? Did it reach people where the marginal propensity to consume was the highest? That's a different question.
Yep.
And
yeah, I can think about that. Yeah, I think this is a very important issue. We have been thinking a lot, but still we don't have a good answer to that. Yeah, but it's good point. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, Qiao, can I also follow up on the first question that Changtai asked about this
sure.
choice of the control group, which is that I like the idea of choosing those who barely missed it, but do you also look at whether those people also got it, managed to get it in a later wave? I asked that because I worry about the intertemporal substitution effect. So if I'm also sensitive to coupon, I just barely missed it. So next time I'm going to try harder. And then in the time being, like in a 1 week time being, I'm going to probably reduce my spending.
We did that. Yeah, we do have some results on that point. Yes, we didn't find a very significant intertemporal substitution effect there. Yeah. So
like you exclude those people who actually got it.
We look at the consumption behavior of those who have received the coupon 1 week after. We found that their spending doesn't.
No, I guess what I'm trying to ask is that the control group you're using, if they anticipate to get the coupon later on, they might reduce spending in this first week, which might also lead to a positive DID effect.
Yeah,
you know, so you want to capture the treatment group to increase, but the control group may also decrease if they anticipate that they can get it in the second or the. I mean, it's all on a weekly basis. It's not very long, so I can just reduce my spending this week, hoping that I can catch up next week.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think our data will allow us to do that. You can try.
Yeah, you can try to look at those who didn't get it at least. I mean, I don't know if that can get away with the anticipation effect, but at least you can try to look at those dimensions.
Yeah, great point. Thank you very much. Yeah.
We should let Liu to proceed for 5 minutes.
Okay, so just show some results, and maybe if I still have time, I can talk a little bit about our explanation for these results. So this is a typical DID analysis, and we define marginal propensity to consume as the excess spending divided by the amount of money redeemed by the coupon holder. So you got 5 vouchers, which is 50 yuan, but probably only use 3 of them. So the actual money redeemed is 30 yuan, sorry. So this is how we calculate MPCs. So just look at the first wave. If you look at how much excess spending is, it's about $125, so 125 yuan. And the redemption rate is 70%. So which means that the effective government subsidy is only RMB 35 yuan. So this is how we got MPC, which is 3.5. So this is for the first wave. And we use a sample based on PSM method. We got the same results. And for second wave, it's larger. MPC is 5.8 because the face value of the voucher is much larger than the first wave. So I guess this is the reason why we end up with a higher MPC. And also we look at its impact on different categories. So mainly the money has been spent on catering services and food and drinks. These 2 categories together account for, I think, slightly more than 60% of total excess spending. People do spend money on dress and some non-durables and other services, but the catering services and food are the main categories they spend their money on. We also look at the impact on, based on the purchase size. So the larger the purchase size, the more responsive, the larger the effect of the coupon. So that is also, I think, consistent with what the previous studies have documented. This is our analysis of intertemporal substitution effect. Of course, we have different understanding about what Wenlan just mentioned. Later on, we can try that. But the basic idea is that we didn't see a significant lag effect, which means that I got a coupon I use a coupon, but that will not affect my consumption behavior in the next week. So that is what our results have been showing. And also, because this program has been tried in multi-waves, so people worry that maybe the coupon effect will decay over time. So we try different waves. We see whether the same customer who have received the coupons before, their behavior will change later on. And I think basically the results shows that it doesn't change at all. This MPC in the range of 3.4 to 5.8 is quite stable across different waves and also across different types of consumers. So we did this external validity check by using data from Guangxi province. Again, very similar coupon design. And the MPCs is also quite stable. It's 5.2 based on data from Guangxi, which is a poor region in China. And of course, we did some heterogeneity analysis. I'm not going to elaborate too much on that to time limit. But finally, I think just a very quick point. We want to argue that this actually is against the traditional permanent income hypothesis. And price effect does not fully explain the results as well. And we argue this probably is consistent with behavior story, especially mental accounting. So one of the supporting evidence we have is that we noticed that in terms of the distribution of purchase size, a lot of purchase size actually concentrate around 40 yuan. For example, this is our treatment group. This is the control group. So we have this is kernel density function. So we have a lot of purchase size concentrate on this level. So we argue that if now this fungibility hypothesis holds, you got a coupon, you can use a coupon for any other purchase. You don't have to spend the money around 40 yuan. So our understanding is that the treat the money, the government subsidy based on the coupon program as a separate account. They want to spend the money. They want to get the benefit provided by the government. And they just don't use this, treat this as a separate account. So this is one of the reasons we're observing that the purchase size actually concentrate around 40 yuan. And also, if you look at the second wave, we got 100 yuan, 200 yuan, and 300 yuan. We see different, we see concentration of purchase size around the 3 levels as well. So we take this as evidence supporting the behavior argument. And of course, now, if you talk about the design of the program and also the way the program has been implemented, it is consistent with a lot of behavioral argument. For example, the short duration itself gives people some pressure to use the money as soon as possible. So that is consistent with this loss framing. And also spend 40, get a 10 off by its very design is some kind of like framing the gain as a loss. If you don't spend 40 yuan, you cannot get 10 yuan of benefit provided by the government. So that I think is, in our understanding, is a effect of loss framing or loss aversion. So this is why we argue that this very likely is the behavior story. And we talk about policy implications. For example, just very quickly, let me see how big this economic impact could be. Just keep in mind that if MPC equal to 3.5 holds, if we apply this program nationwide, for example, in China, Alipay has 1 billion accounts. Tencent has also 1 billion accounts. If the government somehow, by using multi-wave digital coupon, they can send the money to like 500 yuan to this 1 billion accounts, the total government spending will be 500 billion RMB. but based on MPC of 3.5, the retail sales can increase by 1.75 trillion yuan. So it's quite large actually. Keep in mind that consumption actually contributed to 57.8% of GDP growth rate in China. So that can be translated into about 2.5 percentage points increase of GDP. But of course, people argue that if you apply this nationwide, if you use a larger scale coupon program, probably MPC will decline. We don't know that yet, but we tried this on Guangxi. We tried this on several other cities with different local economic conditions. We found quite stable MPCs. So we believe that at least for like 6 months or maybe 1 year, this policy can be repeatedly used and can generate large policy impact. And this, in our understanding, can help the policymakers to think about the most effective policies to deal with the damage caused by COVID-19. Because right now, I think the policymakers do not have any innovative ways. The only thing they can do is use this nationwide blanket payment program. But probably you're going to miss the most responsible group. Well, in this case, by increasing MPC the 10 times than before, the policy responsibilities can be greatly improved. So yeah, I apologize about the time but pretty much this is what I want to say. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for a lot of very interesting questions.
Can I ask you a question? So far,
yeah.
Hello? Yes.
Yes, please.
I'm still remain. You don't know other accounts, right? These let's say control and treatment. You don't know whether the treatment reduced their spending on other accounts.
We don't have information. Yes, it's correct. Yeah, there might be some substitution across different accounts. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
I thought that would be the most key question that you need to address, because if you just it's like you mentioned a mental accounting. Yes, for sure that if I have two accounts, one account tells me that if I'm using that thing with the $20 or $100 or $200, I'm gonna use it very, very precisely. But I can adjust my consumption on the other side of that account. Then adding up, I don't know what how can you make a strong claim on whether this has an impact.
Ziguo, do you know whether most people have two accounts?
I think one they have a WeChat account for sure, but here we're talking about Hangzhou. I think this
that's why you mentioned Hangzhou.
Yeah, yeah, because Alipay in Hangzhou, just like this is like a city's very symbolic thing. Hangzhou people are very proud of Alibaba, of Alipay. So I think we also did some survey. People argue that 90% of transactions are taken care of by using Alipay account. So that probably is a lesser concern in Hangzhou. But if we extend this argument to other cities, this could be a big problem, yes. We don't have data from Tencent. If we have data, I think we can test that. Yeah.
Qiao, can I? Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. Keep going, Haiming.
Qiao, can I? Nice presentation. I have a couple of comments. First, I feel like the comparison with the MPC estimates in the literature may be misplaced. So this, to me, seems more like corresponding estimates should be the demand elasticity with respect to price discounts, right? This is a 25% for the first wave, right? This MPC, when in the literature, when people talk about MPC, the main concern is whether you receive the money, you save it or spend it now, right? And here there's no option to save it. I mean, after a week, the money is gone, right? So it's not really about. But then, what is the get $10, 10 yuan off for 40 yuan expenditure? That seems to be like a 25% discount. So I feel like maybe the comparison, more relevant comparison, is what are the estimates of demand with respect to discounts in the marketing literature or IO literature. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great comment. Yeah, we were debating on this. In some cases, we calculate elasticity. For example, for I think the third wave, it's somewhere around 5.3, so it's still very high. Yeah, we will think about that. Whether MPC is a good way to measure the effect. Yeah.
Okay. Second comment, just very quickly, is if you truly believe in the allocation of the coupon is only depends on the timestamp, whether you log in early or not. Do you need to have a control group? Can you just do the control group before and after? Just simple difference. So if you know the pre-weekly expenditures of those guys got the coupon, right? So we are talking, right? So then look at whether the coupon made a difference for the week before and after they got the coupon. What is if at least as a robustness check, it will be useful to see whether the simple difference estimator, is similar in magnitude to the difference in difference estimator you have. And another thing is, to the extent that you know the timestamps of the individuals who claim the coupon or try to claim but did not get it, you may be able to address some of the heterogeneity in the time cost of the time value of the cost that Chantal was mentioning to address that. Another thing that there's also time cost of spending the coupon. And the coupon can only spend on 实体店, and busy guys may not be able to go. So that's why you have. I don't know if you have some information about people who claim the coupon but did not spend it, whether they are of particular types, to just see whether some dissipation does take place that Chantal mentioned.
Okay, great. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, thank you, Hemming, for that. Yeah.
Can I just ask one last question, since it was following up on Hemming's first comment? Since the way to think about it is that it's like a price discount, but then the natural question, like the first question that I think that comes to mind whenever you're talking about a discount is about the incidence of the discount. So the question is whether the incidence is all on the consumers or the incidence is all on the seller. That is it the case? Can you check whether the store owners just raise prices by 10 yen in response to this policy? It's like a standard tax. It's like a standard tax incidence question. Like when you raise the tax or when you lower the tax, who bears the burden?
Okay, yeah, that's good. A good point. Actually, the practice is exactly the opposite, because when the local governments issue a coupon, they ask the offline merchants or shops to apply to participate. If you want to participate, normally they have some kind of promotional plan going on, so they tend to reduce the price rather than increase the price. But we don't know whether this is a universal case or just what the government told us. We can check on that, yeah, if we have data, yeah. But this is a good point, yeah. So in other words, whether it's a rational response or it's a behavioral story, yeah, we need to check further into the data, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
This 10 renminbi discount, the cost is borne by the government, right? Not by the stores.
By the government, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense, that may alleviate part of the concern that the stores might have incentive to raise prices. But I agree that that could be a separate response.
We heard some incidents about corruption. So for example, you have to spend 40 yuan to get the 10 yuan off. Actually, you don't spend it 40 yuan at all. You just get 10 yuan. We heard some incidents about this kind of problems, but Alipay actually they can track every purchase. So if you really want to control that, they can do that. Yeah, at least for the first few waves of the coupon issuance, I don't think this is a common problem. but we need to check into those issues. Yes.
Qiao,
Can I ask a question?
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm a little bit suspicious about the aggregate implications you mentioned in the end of the presentation. So if it's a small money, then it's likely to have a kind of behavioral bias. If we really want to scale up to a significant amount, then I doubt whether or not people are going to do the same thing. So think about these waves. Is there a wave with the kind of a bigger discount? And which wave? I think there's some differences, right?
Yes.
So which wave provided the bigger discount? So is there evidence that in that wave you see lower MPC? So people kind of more careful in doing this?
Based on data we have, the Hangzhou, we didn't see that, but we do have some information about the practice in Guangxi. So I think the issue is not about how much discount you give to the consumers. It's mainly about whether your local business is active or not. So we have some cross-city evidence we are currently examining. Yeah, but I agree with you. No, we need to be very cautious about the aggregate impact. Yes. Yeah.
I'm not saying the magnitude of discount matters. I'm saying total package matters. To say that to get this 10%, 20% discount, what is the minimum consumption you need to have? Say that if you increase the minimum requirement from like 100 yuan to 10,000 yuan, then I think probably you will not get this high MPC. So that's my hunch.
Yeah, no, that's right. No, yeah. All of the evidence that we have is that when we look at the marginal propensity to consume for very large amounts of money, it's basically close to zero. But when we're talking about very small amounts of money, that's when you start to see significant MPCs. I mean that's over.
You have a paper on this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, your AR paper. Yeah. Actually, based on the information we have, those cities have tried, the minimum purchase size as high as 1,000 or 10,000. The highest we have been seeing so far is like 300 or 400 RMB. So I think the city officials have been talking to experts, talking to Alipay experts about what could be the ideal size, when they design the program. Yeah. But the hunch is, it's right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Before finish, can I ask a more important question? Does Ali or local government, let's say Hangzhou, are thinking about targeting on the customer or the consumer or whatever who really needs the money? They have all the data, or the best data ever in the world to do this type of thing. Are they thinking about it?
Yes, they do actually. The reason they approach us, actually, they want to, they use, they want to actually do a policy research, use the policy research results to convince the government to try the American type, physical payment program, just send money to everyone in China. But somehow, I think the central government, at least up to this point, are still very hesitant about doing that. So this is why local government has to take initiative, try their own program. Yes, I think currently as I said, Alipay has 1 billion user accounts, so they're pretty confident based on the previous transaction records. They can identify who actually are facing liquidity constraint, who may need help, and whose consumption pattern has changed all of a sudden because of maybe they lose a job or whatsoever. They believe they can do that, but I don't know why the government doesn't want to believe them. Yeah, so that is the problem. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Professor Liu. this is a great great paper that I wish that we could have done more research like this, and obviously that I thanks Ali's the support in a way that it's without them I guess that we can't see these interesting results. We will continue next week. Thanks for everybody coming.